So Hollard's aspiration to get to zero carbon emissions in 2035 is directly informed by our purpose to create a better future today for tomorrow, to have still a vibrant web of life. And being intentional about that meant that we had to set clear targets and clear goals and be absolutely specific about how we're going to measure our progress.
We have actually realized at Hollard that the environment in which you are in, be it at home or at work, will determine how optimally you perform. The Hollard campus is a very tranquil environment. We've got landscaping which is quite amazing. You can have what we call a meander. During lunch hour you can take a walk, you can jog, you can go to meditation or pray. We've put benches along the way to encourage people to enjoy this tranquil environment. So Hollard invests a lot in keeping the place clean, the gardens manicured. Outside and within the building itself, we've got indoor plants as well, which talks to creating that environment that is conducive for productivity.
So the Hollard Mile is very close to my heart, and there we've really done a few things. We've connected 2 traffic lights to our generator power to make sure that traffic can flow during load shedding. We're also ensuring that the mile is clean, it's litter free, it's cut and just looks good. And then we've also embarked recently on a project with urban surfers where we have supported the waste reclaimers that had a little camp down the road here on Federation Road. And there we've built a camp, we've put in a solar baler, as well as put in a few agreements to make sure that they can provide better for themselves and their families, really just to ensure a better future.
You know, every project you have to figure out what is the decision making, right? So why do this? And it changes on every project. Hollard had a pressing matter that they had to have resilience in terms of energy. They have a call center, you know, they've got to run all the time, 24/7. So normally we would say we'll go straight into a solar discussion for savings. Their real effort was to find resilient ways to stay up during load shedding, to stay up during normal power outages.
We've had some big ambitions around our carbon footprint, as well as the cost at the moment of diesel consumption, of Eskom's electricity costs. We've seen double-digit increases from Eskom over the last couple of years. So that also really prompted us to look at alternatives.
So we started in 23, measured the baseline of our current carbon footprint, and then looked to get to a 20% improvement by 2026. And this project directly plays in achievement of that 20% improvement. And it was specifically about starting to address our energy mix and bringing solar into it to reduce our reliance on fossil fuel. And in Energy Gurus, we found people that share the same passion as we have.
Solar, it's the absolutely perfect natural solution in terms of power, and it really talks towards our green ambitions. Energy Gurus really partnered with us to think through the design that we wanted to put forwards for this campus. The financial model is highly beneficial. We took into account the maintenance costs, the installation costs, the materials, and really it leads us to an under 3 years payback period, which is really positive.
This is a gorgeous building. It's a Herbert Baker, one of his fine expressions of his art, Union Buildings being another. And to us, it really matters to preserve this heritage. And why is that of importance? Because I absolutely believe that it's the habit of cultivating renewal and regeneration that helps you to use the old in new ways that's sustainable, that will see us through in this journey. And to that end, we ask Energy Gurus to show up with a solution. And I have to absolutely commend them for coming up with fantastic innovation to put us in a space where we could hold both the energy ask and the conservation ask of what we're dealing with here.
It's probably the oldest building we've ever worked on and will probably ever work on. And that's really true, in that we found a lot of pride in doing a heritage site and getting it approved by the council. The roof became a real issue because the tile that was used at the time is a slate, very thin, very brittle tile. So we advised them that if we have to use these roofs, then we cannot use the tiles that are existing. We will break too many of them. It then became apparent during the process of the roofing, guys, that you don't find these tiles anymore. So you can't find a replacement. So we had to make a decision, and we worked with the Hollard team to say, let's replace the sections at least where we will be putting solar up, so the northern facing side. And then a plus of it was that we then could harvest tiles by replacing it with a clip lock system, and we could use that harvested tiles for the normal maintenance of the roof that, let's say the next 10 years. So it was a good plus at the end, but it was quite tricky. It wasn't that we proposed it, it was more like we really had to find a solution that's workable. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to generate electricity on site enough to really make a dent in their financial model. During the tender process, it was clear that everything will be fitted into containers. And we'll say, right, we'll put batteries into containers, we'll put the container on the outside. It was through the process that we talked to the association that approves aesthetics, right? That it was clear that it's a no-go. We can't just drop a container in a garden. It has to be approved, and it wasn't declined. So we were back at now being forced to find a workable solution. And then we identified one of their storage facilities that we could repurpose into a battery room because it was quite close to the outside, so we could extract any gases if ever a fire comes.
Well, we had a UPS room that we weren't using 100% at the time, so we thought because it was close to our generators, etc., that it would be the perfect space for the batteries.
So when we started the sizing of the system, we used meters to do a load data profile on it, and we then start to spec the system to according the needs of the building. And we build this room specifically for the size of batteries that we want to install. So this room's got specifically 1.2 megawatt hours of battery power. So this doesn't power the building right through 24 hours. It's not an off-grid system. This was spec'd for the load shedding needs that they've got. So this powers the building for 2.5 hours on its essential line for each load shedding session.
The long-term viability is absolutely good. It pays itself off under 3 years, and then it's really just benefit. I think we were spending a huge amount on diesel in the worst stages of load shedding, and our diesel bill is going down to 80% less than what it was.
So the return on investment on a system like this has been calculated, and there's a whole model being built. So solar obviously has an impact on the bill itself, but batteries were basically spec'd only to replace the generators and the diesel cost in load shedding.
I think first and foremost, Hollard wins, right? They have a sustainable solar solution. They've got battery backup, so they win on resilience. And through that, their customers win because they'll always be available when needed. And because they've made it sustainable, they'll be here in 20 and 30 years from now. In the end, we also won because we took on the most challenging project that we've ever had. To look at it now, having completed this project, it runs well, it's hitting its targets, makes us proud, and we've really enjoyed doing this.
We are now able to get a lot of our employees to come and work on campus because they can come on campus and be able to work uninterrupted. So from a bottom line point of view, it's actually the productivity that we're seeing that is really enhanced.
I think we've got this incredible window where it's not the difficulty that is the problem, rather it's the difficulty that is the path. And as South Africans, we struggle on so many layers and fronts of our day-to-day existence. We deal with load shedding, we deal with decaying infrastructure, we've got our social challenges. But all of those dilemmas teach us to win, and from that winning and learning, create hope for a better space. And I'm deeply encouraged by this project as an example of that.